Hello, my friends. I'm very happy to be with you, very happy to share this time with you and have this conversation that today, I've really been thinking of this for so long. And the more I work as a doctor, the more I see patients, the more I see health problems, the more I realize that we shouldn't have to suffer that much. Let me give you one example. I'm going to use a very simple example. I had a friend that has a very nice business. And one day I found him a little bit worried and a little bit stressed. And I asked him, what's happening to you? You don't look as good as you always do. And then he told me, it's December. We have to pay Christmas bonus. Business is slower in December always, and we have to do a Christmas party and Christmas gifts, and you know the story. We all go through that, don't we? And he was a little bit worried and stressed about the financial challenge that it gave him. And then, okay, well, you're going to sort it out, don't worry, blah, blah, blah. A year later, I find him exactly in the same position. Oh, we're getting back to December, and you know the story. And then I told him, because he asked me, I never see you worried at the end of the year. And I said, you know what? I know these expenses are going to come. It's like taxes. You know April will be here one day, and we have to pay taxes. We know December is going to be in, 10 months, 9 months, and we're going to have all those expenses. So why don't you figure out how much you're going to need and start taking a little piece at a time every month and put it aside for those difficult times or more stressful times. And then you say, okay, I'm going to put this much, this much, this much. And at the end of the year, you have it all planned. You have your budget, you're going to use it, you're going to have a very nice Christmas party, you're going to give generous bonus gifts, etc. You're going to be able to do what you want to do. And if it comes to the IRS, well, yeah, you will have time to meet also a compromise that you know you're going to get. I mean, they say there are only two sure things in this world. One is death, the other is taxes. So we know it's going to happen. So why don't we put some money aside for that moment? And in thinking in the same direction, and that's why I was telling you, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, more than 50 years as a doctor, looking at patients, looking at health issues and problems, and you can see all the time that people that were in good shape in the first time, to begin with, they're going to do it very well. And we say it's a common comment. Somebody gets in an accident, and we say, oh, he'll come out of it. He's young, he's strong, he's in good health. And somebody has another type of health issue, and we say, oh, brace yourself. He smokes, he has high blood pressure, he's had already a heart attack. I don't know what's going to happen. So we know for sure that those that are with a lot more health resources are going to be able to meet the challenge in a much better way. And of course, with a much better outcome. And you say, yes, but I know he's young, that's the first thing you say, and I'm not young. How am I going to solve that? See? But there are other parts of the equation that, yes, we can handle. You say he's strong. You can be strong. You can be strong at any age. It is just a matter of a little bit of discipline. And we're going to talk about it. That's why I love to have these meetings with you. You can be strong at any age. And then everything that you say as a good thing of a sick patient, you can do it. It's within your reach. And a lot of the things that you say very negatively, like smoking or obese or diabetics or had a heart attack, those things we can also manage by prevention, by handling in a different way. And then, whenever any health challenge comes to us, we're going to be able to come out of it successfully. We saw it in COVID-19. People that died had very low vitamin D levels, were obese, hypertensive. Remember the words? It was on the news every day. And the people that were able to go through the disease in a much better way were a lot healthier, were fit, were in good vitamin D levels, etc. They never talk about just being old. They talked about all an assortment of things that really make up a healthy individual. And that's who you want to be. So, in thinking in my friend's situation, when he was having problems to meet the demands of the end of the year, every year, and giving him the idea of creating a savings account where he could put all these assets together to be able to meet successfully those challenges, I thought, that's a very good idea. Why don't we open a health savings account? Think of it. Think about it for a few seconds or for a couple of minutes. Or get it to bed. Get that idea to bed. Dream about it. Think about it. Tell your spouse, tell your friends, I'm going to open a health savings account. And what is that? Well, I could begin with a little bit of analysis of where I stand today. I could visit my doctor, I could do some blood tests, I could have my blood pressure checked, I could have the little prick in my finger to see what's my sugar level, I could stand, if you dare, on a balance and check what is my weight and what is my body mass index. You can do it on your phone. You can do on your phone also what should be your body mass index, etc. And when you start putting all those things together, you say, well, if I'm fit, if I'm in good shape, I'm going to start anyway saving some for a different situation. But if I'm not fit, I'm going to begin by getting back to where I should be. So I have to look for a nutritionist, get on an exercise team, do something with my life, change some of my habits, and so on. And I was thinking, well, we are at the beginning of springtime. And springtime, after all, is time for renewal. I think we have New Year's resolutions, but we're in the middle of the winter. Who wants to engage in anything in the middle of the winter? Where everything is frozen, where you cannot go out, where you cannot enjoy the outdoors, etc. But in the springtime, everything starts to grow, everything starts to bloom. That should be really our beginning. That should be really the beginning of everything. And in many ancient cultures, springtime was actually the beginning of the year. So this is a good time to reflect on what we have, where are we at the present time, and where we want to be in the future. Because the well-being that you are enjoying today might not be here tomorrow. So let's start saving a little bit every month for the future. What about, for example, £1 less every month? It's not too much to ask. If you cut out soda pop, if you cut out cookies, if you cut out donuts, And I'm mentioning some of the worst and most offending products, which is refined sugar. Even if you use sugar substitute, that's bad. So highly sweetened things should not be in the human diet. So we could start with that. And that alone is going to start making changes. And you don't need anything other than your cell phone. Take a selfie and take it every month. The chain of pictures is going to tell you if you're going in the right direction or if you're just fooling yourself. Because I live with it every day. People tell me, "Doctor, I swear to you, I do not eat. I barely eat. I just nibble on something. I'm always starving. I don't eat anything. I don't know where those 10 pounds came from." It's a very difficult argument because you say, okay, you gain 10 pounds and you say you do not eat. That's a miracle. Because as far as I know, in the concentration camps where they didn't feed anybody, not one gained weight. So if you're gaining weight, you're not going in the right direction. You're not doing things right. Record your daily life, write it down, and see what you're eating, what you put in your mouth. And many times, the smallest thing, nibbling on the wrong thing, is going to give you a lot of calories and a lot of problems. Because vegetable oils, refined sugar, and refined flour are the easiest thing to put in your mouth. And there you have a lot of problems. So let's talk about a health savings account, where we can add less pounds, lower blood pressure, better performance, vitamins, minerals, good nutrition, lots of fiber, physical activity, and so on. And then we're going to accrue a very good balance on that account. Our health saving account is going to accrue a lot of profits, a lot of resources that we can use at any given time. Don't go away, because I want to keep this conversation with you. I am Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. I have been a doctor for over 50 years, and for over 40 years, I have been fighting for what's called integrative medicine, alternative medicine, and so on. Why? Because I have seen the rewards that it gives to the medical practice, the possibility of working with you, with your body, with your lifestyle, in order to prevent first deadly diseases. If we cannot do that, at least delay the onset. But let's stop suffering the staggering numbers of chronic degenerative disease that's killing us, that's killing our children, that's killing everybody around us, our friends, our co-workers. Heart attacks, high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it. And I was talking about a good way, a very good way to meet health challenges in the future is to have healthy resources. And what I equate money with health. The same way you can plan your future, you can plan assets for the future, you can do investments that are going to give you a good interest. I could do that with my health. Because if I eat well, if I exercise, if I keep an eye on my health, this is not only going to make me feel better, but it is going to produce resources that will make me live longer, healthier. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about enjoyment. We're talking about well-being. We're talking about doing what we want to do in the future. And it's not all about money. Just think of how many people you have seen through your lifetime that did very well financially only to be handicapped because of chronic degenerative disease. Or worse, they died in their 50s or 60s of a heart attack, of diabetes, of high blood pressure, kidney disease, etc. So what I want to tell you is that if I stop for a minute, if I think about it for a few seconds or for a few minutes, if I take the idea to bed and sleep on it and talk about it with my friends, with my spouse, then I think it's going to become, every time you talk about it, it's going to be clearer and clearer that yes, you can take some of your well-being that you have today and put it aside for a rainy day. And if that rainy day never comes, you're going to live longer, you're going to be stronger, you're going to function better. And I think the most frightening to me, the most frightening situation to me today is that 50%, 1 out of every 2 Americans, doesn't hold the ideal weight. It's going to be overweight or obese. Just go to the mall, go to the stadium, look at your workplace. How many people around you, you think they look good and fit? And how many of them don't? That's going to give you an idea of what's happening. And then go home and look at yourself in the mirror, in a full-length mirror. And you're going to begin to understand that, yes, this is a problem that we have to face, but we have to face it head on. We cannot do this or do the other. In the bottom line, there's something very simple we can do, and that's try to keep a caloric balance. What is that? That is, try to eat the calories you really need for your everyday performance. Don't eat more. There are now some Japanese theories that say eat 80% of what you really want to eat. Well, that's a good way to do it. But there are many ways to do it. There are many ways to do it if you really want to get somewhere. And the first thing you have to do is get a tape and a balance and check your weight and check your height. And then go to your cell phone and look for body mass index, put it in, and see where you are. You should be definitely under 25. If you're 25 or above, you're overweight, period. And if you are more than 30, you are obese. And we're not talking about how you look, because you might say, oh, I feel good, I look good, I don't mind. It is what is going to cost your body that excess weight. Not only in terms of heaviness, but also in a metabolic cost. Because handling all that fat, handling all that extra weight is going to give you a lot of metabolic problems. And they all are interconnected. It is a domino effect. You push this thing and it's going to go right through, but you push this other and it goes going right through. If you're overweight, and it is going to, it's not if. When your overweight affects, for example, your blood flow, the circulation of your blood, and starts slowing down, a lot of things can happen. You could have thrombosis, clots, you could have problems with your heart, strokes, a lot of things. You could have high blood pressure because the heart has to pump harder in order to be able to make that blood flow through your body. So if you lose a little bit of weight, the benefit is exponential. If you lose 2 pounds, you're going to get 4 times the benefit. If you lose 4 pounds, you're going to get 16 times the benefit. It's exponential. Every little bit you lose in weight, it's going to make you feel a lot better. You profit from it from day one. But furthermore, every time you lose your weight, every time you get fitter, you're putting money in your health savings account. Your body is going to be more resilient. It's going to resist a lot better disease. And when it comes, it's going to be able to manage it and bounce back to health. That's resilience. And you can do it if you just change a little bit your lifestyle. I told you already, you can only put in the garbage can refined sugar and any highly sweetened thing. You can only have the natural sweets. You can have bee honey, you can have fruit, you can have simple things like that. If you want something very savory to drink, make a fruit blended thing, make something like that, very natural. Don't use sugar. If you need a sugar bowl in your house, should be this big, period. And avoid sugar. Use it for your birthday if you want to. But that's it. Take away with sugar, take away with refined flour, and make away with vegetable oils, because they are pro-inflammatory. They're not only heavy with calories, but they are pro-inflammatory. They don't add to your health. They go against it. What are you going to do? Well, use olive oil. Olive oil was at the Last Supper, when Jesus was having the Last Supper. We have over 2,000 years. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a lot of benefits. Actually, many people say that everything we talked about Mediterranean diet is because of the olive oil. So that we can do. That's what you have to bring. You can go to the web, you can go to YouTube, there's so many resources that will let you learn and learn more every day about health and health resources, that you're going to be able to accrue a very fantastic balance in your health saving accounts in no time. And people are going to tell you how good you look, and your weekly selfie is going to show you how your face looks different, how swelling is going down, how your complexion improves because circulation is improving. The same way I was telling you, if the domino effect, this function fails and it's going to bring everything down, when this is successful, it's going to support everything. So if you help one part, everything is going to be helped. And in no time, you're going to begin feeling better and better. And you're going to say, why didn't I think about it before? I know it's hard to begin. I know there are many problems when we begin because we have, number one, bad trained in what we should like or dislike in terms of food. And also because many food things are addictive. Refined sugar goes to the same centers of gratification as cocaine. So many bad foods are addictive. That's why it's so difficult to quit. It's like a drug addiction. You need a lot of courage, a lot of determination, and compromise with your own life. And you're going to say, I'm going to put all these resources, so at the end of my life, I'm going to be able to enjoy my family and the benefits of everything I have gotten. I'm going to be able to travel, I'm going to be able to drive, I'm going to be able to do a lot of things. I don't want to be in a couch or a wheelchair. Stay with me. We have to keep on going. This is getting more and more interesting. You are with Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez. Wherever in the world you happen to be, because in this time and age you could be in Africa or in America, whatever the time of day is for you, you are with Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And we're talking today about what is a fairly new concept. I really have not read about it. But I began to tell you that in advising a good friend on how to run all the expenses of the end of the year, I told him that what I did, in talking of my own business, was always setting aside some money that would give me an amount to use at the end of the year. And same with taxes. You know that two things are for sure: death and taxes. So we know that we have to pay taxes at certain time of the year. So you have to separate, you have to make sure, you have to figure out how much you're going to need to meet those expenses. And when you plan it well, it's completely painless. Because they tell you, well, now we have to pay this much, and you say, yeah, that's what I figure out it would be. And here is the money. If we use everything, at the end of the year, we have problems with Christmas bonuses, we have problems with Christmas party, we will not have money for gifts, we're going to have a lot of pressure, and then taxes come shortly after, and then we'll have to ask for an extension, or we're going to be mad, we're going to be always that it's unfair, blah, blah, blah. But that's going to get us nowhere, because nevertheless, one way or another, installments or not, you have to pay your taxes. Well, why don't you plan it? And if you plan it, everything is going to be completely smooth and painless. But the same happens with health. I have been a doctor for over 50 years, and I have seen it over and over. And you also have said it, you have thought it yourselves many times. Because when we know somebody had an accident, when we know somebody went to the hospital because of this or that, we frequently make the comment, he's going to come out of it very well because he's very strong, because he's fit, because he's in very good shape. What does it mean? That you and I know that being fit, in shape, and strong is an insurance, and an assurance that if I get sick, I'm going to get out of it very well. And COVID-19 was the perfect example, because we saw it in the news, and you saw it every day. Who died in COVID-19? Well, those that were overweight, obese, diabetic, high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart disease, those that were handicapped to begin with. So we're talking about opening up a health savings account. Put aside some of your well-being every day to be able to meet health challenges for tomorrow. And we do that if we start looking at ourselves and making a good balance of ourselves and say, I'm going to be everything I said about this guy that I thought he's going to do very well. I said he's strong, he's fit, he's slim. All those things are within my reach. They're not destiny. Yes, there is a little bit part of genetics, but remember that genetics are not written on granite. Genetics can be modified because, after all, we have genes that can be expressed or suppressed. And the better health lifestyle you have, the better lifestyle, the more you're going to suppress the bad genes and the more you're going to express the good genes. So even genetics can be modified by good lifestyle. So when you think of all those things, it becomes easier and easier to accrue fast resources in that health savings account. We're talking already about overweight, the staggering numbers of 50% Americans with weight problems. And then we talk about metabolic well-being. What is metabolic well-being? Well, it happens to be that the human body is not steady. It's not just something that is just there. For the human body to work, we have to do a lot of things. We don't go like a car to the gas station and fill it with fuel. We don't. Think of that. No, I give you steak, I give you a salad, I give you fruit, I give you food that's very diverse. And it is our own body that has to change that into fuel, building material, things that are going to create my body and make it function. That's metabolism. Metabolism comes from a Greek word that means changing things. So, if you take an apple, if you take orange juice for 10 days, and then you cut yourself, there's not going to come orange juice. You're going to have blood, human blood, because your body has changed all what we eat into what the body really needs, and produce our own fuel and produce our own building blocks to heal, to change, to grow. Now, it's very simple, very, very simple. You're about to remodel your house today, and I send you cheap building material. And you're going to say, well, I don't think these bricks are going to hold. I don't think this rebar is strong enough. Why did you get this? Because it's very cheap. You're going to be able to build a wall, nevertheless. Might not look as good as the other one, but it's going to make a wall. That's all you need. And in the first shake, it's going to crumble. That's what happens with our body. When we eat cheap things, we produce very faulty body structures. And when any disease arrives, we destroy everything we built, so to speak. But we built it very cheaply, with very poor material. We didn't look for good, organic, free-range, grass-fed type of nutrition. We went for a box that's very cheap, that has some concoction in there, that has the cheapest type of foods, and to make it worse, with a lot of chemical additives to make it palatable, to make it durable, long shelf life, and to make it, I don't know what else. That's what we bring into our body. Well, that's what we get. At the first challenge, our body crumbles. And let's say this once for all. We completely neglect, because lack of knowledge. We didn't know that. I would not be telling you this 20 years ago. Now I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart. Stop thinking of the intestinal flora as poop. No, it's another organ of the body. And it is a very important organ of the body. It's a huge organ of the body. How big? Well, it's bigger than both kidneys. It's bigger than your brain. It's bigger than your heart. That's how important that organ is. And that intestinal flora is made out of bacteria, fungi, and all those are vegetable cells. And they need to eat, and they need to survive to be healthy, because we need a healthy intestinal flora. Get that in your head. You will not be able to be healthy if your intestinal flora is not in good shape. And how we get it healthy? Simple. One word. Fiber. You have to eat fiber. If you have an omelette for breakfast, if you have a hamburger for lunch, and you have a steak for dinner, where is the fiber? You didn't eat anything. So what you have to do, again, is go to the web, go to the social media of your choice. There are many options, and say, how can I get more fiber in my life? How can I improve? And every time you have a BM, go and take a look. See, if it just drops like lead all the way to the bottom, you're not healthy. If you're not moving your bowel every day, you're not healthy. And if you start improving those areas, you're going to see changes. If you're bloated, if you eat and feel cramps, if you have frequent cramps, etc., that's telling you your intestinal flora is suffering. The intestinal flora is responsible for the integrity of the intestine. So when we fail to keep a good intestinal flora, the intestine fails. It can get ulcers, it can get inflammation. And you know what? It is getting to be one of the fastest growing diseases in America. Chronic inflammatory ulcerative colitis, in one form or another. So pay more attention to that. Pay more attention to the quality of the food you bring, so your metabolic condition can be very good, and make sure you have a very healthy intestinal flora. And you only need one thing, fiber. If you start putting those things together, along with the caloric balance that we have just mentioned, you're going to feel $1 million in no time. Not only that, but you're going to put another $1 million in your health savings account. I want you to stay with me, because we still have more things to say, and they are very important. I am Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And I really hope, I wish that you're enjoying this conversation as much as I'm enjoying it. It's so important to me. It's really a quest. It's really my mission at this time of my life, to steer your feelings, your views, your things, to get you out of your zone of your comfort zone, and think out of the box and say, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my health? Why am I accepting this and that it's really damaging to my body? Is it true that it's just genetics and that I'm doomed and I have to go the way that the whole world is going, particularly in America. 1 out of every 2 is, excuse me, I have done it all wrong. It's 2 out of 3 people are obese or overweight. 2 out of 3. The 50%, 1 out of every 2, is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. What does that mean? That either has diabetes or has everything to develop it in the next few years. 1/3 is hypertensive. And a huge amount, probably another third, has bowel problems. What is going to happen when we get the next epidemic? We're going to die. Now, if you check the blood, for example, we know now that vitamin D was highly deficient in many people. More than half of the people in America were deficient in vitamin D. Magnesium. Magnesium is the biggest problem in America. It's the biggest mineral deficiency. Why? Because magnesium is in the plant. We don't eat plants to begin with. Second, if we ate them, that's why you have to be careful in where you get your food from. You're probably going to get it from land that has been overexploited. If you read Leviticus, it says that every 7th year you should lay the land to rest. That was in biblical times. Now we know that you need some rest for the land to remineralize. We don't do that, you have a depleted soil. A depleted soil is going to give you a depleted plant. A depleted plant is going to give you a depleted you. So we have to look at all those things and concepts in order to regain our health, one, and to save for the future. We're in a health savings account. Health is like money. If you have more health today than what you need for your daily day, you can save it. Your body is going to save it for the future. And yes, when we get sick in the future, we're going to be like those people that we say, oh, he's going to be okay because he's strong, because he's fit, because he is in very good shape. We're going to be in that position. No matter if we're 60, 70, 80 years old or 90. We see it all the time in the news. People that look very good, very old. In Japan, for example, retirement before 80 is rare because people are very capable. So that's what we have to go for. That's our goal. That's our target. We have to be healthy for the rest of our lives. And we want to be able to enjoy everything we have, everything that we have accomplished, everything that we have accrued. But if we don't have the health, we will not be able to do it. So let's plan on a health saving account. And we already talked about caloric balance. Make sure we're fit by making sure that we don't eat more than what our body needs. Second, metabolic competence, metabolic well-being. Let's choose the foods we're going to eat because those are the ones that are going to provide our body with energy and the building blocks of every part of our body. And we have very cheap food supply. We're going to have cheap cell walls, cheap immunity, cheap hormonal function, cheap intestinal, etc. Everything is going to be bad and faulty. And then we talked about of the well-being of the intestinal flora. Because, I'm going to tell you this also, I already told you that the intestinal flora has to be stopped, to be looked at intestinal flora, and think of it as a very important organ of the body. Larger than the kidneys, larger than the brain, larger than the heart. And one more thing, the most important immune organ, the largest organ from the immunological point of view in the body, is the gut. If we're talking about being able to resist an infection, to resist a disease, it's immunity what we need. Viral infections, we saw it with COVID. We don't have medication for it. But we can be very resistant if we have very good immunity. And that comes from your intestine, comes from the gut. So making sure that your gut feels well, that you're not bloated, that you move your bowel, that everything goes right with this, it's very simple. Eat fiber, fiber, fiber. Going to give you a very good hint. You know that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I'm going to tell you, 3 apples a day can provide the body with all the fiber, all the soluble fiber you need in 24 hours. So what about instead of taking medication, you take 1 apple 3 times a day with every meal? 1 apple with every meal. That's going to be a good beginning. And if you add some cucumber and some raw carrot and you use some of those things, you can put lime juice or chili, some whatever you like on it, that's going to make a big difference in your body. So all we have to do is learn about it, educate ourselves about it, because we're going to be healthy. And last but not least, I have to mention physical activity. Why is exercise touted as a real great thing? Because it is. Let me tell you something. 2/3 our metabolic weight is the muscle. Have you thought of that? When you go to the butcher shop, what you see? You don't see a huge brain, but you see a lot of muscle. You see the meat. And that is what we have in our body, a lot of muscle. So from the metabolic point of view, it's probably the largest metabolic organ in the body. 2/3 of our body weight is muscle. There's where we generate a lot of growth, a lot of energy, a lot of everything. Sedentarism is killing us. We have a lot of people dying because we're sedentary, because we do not move. And once for all, forget about movement as going to a gym, because my patients tell me all the time, "Doctor, the gym is very far. Doctor, I don't have time to go to the gym." No. Good physical activity does not require sneakers and a whole outfit. No. Good physical activity means that I'm working on my desk, get up here, go down, go upstairs, come back. How many times you say, "Could you bring me a copy from the copier?" Do it yourself. Stepping up out of your desk and taking few steps can go a long way. Use the stairs. And there is a very important British study that showed that household cleaning things can go also a very long way. If you vacuum clean, if you sweep your sidewalk, if you mow your lawn, all those things count. Just keep moving. Remember that any type of exercise, it's a lot better than none. So, do things. We used to do a lot of things. We used to wash the clothes. We used to chop wood. We used to move big casseroles for food. We used to walk big distances to school. Remember? You might have seen it in pictures. You might have to get ready the horse to go somewhere. Now you just turn a key and sit through all the miles you have to go to. Let's move again. Play with the children. Play ball. Jump the rope. Do something that's going to make you much more active. I always tell people, all you have to do, for example, is go to the mall and walk in the mall. There's a mall at home that I have figured out how can I make 1,000 steps. And then you go window shopping, going around, you do it 1, 2, 3 times, 5 times, whatever you want to do. It's going to be 1,000 steps every time. And yes, the more steps you do, the healthier you're going to be. The 10,000 thing might not be exactly true, but if you do 10,000 steps a day, I can guarantee you there is no way you're going to gain weight, there is no way you're going to get sick. Your blood pressure goes down, every marker in the body goes down, and everything is going to improve for your life. What you have to do is call BioCare Hospital. We have done it for many years. We're very successful. We can help you. You can get a BioCare Health Getaway. And I can help you to open up your health saving accounts today.